Quote, the president is unhinged. He is unwell. The president is unwell. Representative Madeline Dean of Montgomery County in Pennsylvania with perhaps the most important 11 words in the past decade, perhaps the most important 11 words in the history of this country, certainly the most important 11 words for the future of this country, if any, concluding with, the president is unwell. We have at least one, we probably have two presidential health crises in full flower at the same moment. And near as I can tell, only Representative Dean and Governor Pritzker of Illinois are talking about it. It was the governor who said, quote, there is something genuinely wrong with this man and the 25th Amendment ought to be invoked. The two crises are obvious, the physical one and the mental one. At his insane speech to the generals in Quantico, Trump sounded as if somebody had unplugged his charger about 3 weeks ago, and what he said made almost no sense whatsoever. And where was he yesterday as this government shutdown that he orchestrated was rolled out? Why did they have to get J.V. Vance out to try to fool the White House press corps? And why isn't the White House press corps talking about the simple truth that Representative Dean so eloquently stated, pleading with Speaker Johnson to do something about this truth? Quote, the president is unwell.
60% of the individuals that ICE has taken in Illinois this year have no criminal convictions of any kind. ICE is running around the loop harassing people for not being white. Just a year ago, that was illegal in the United States. Now, ICE is making it commonplace. That's not making America great.
I mean, last month on Fox News, Trump also proudly bragged that he ended a war between the nations of Azerbaijan and Albania, despite the fact that the two countries were never actually at war. About a week later, at a press conference with the Prime Minister of the UK, Trump made the same bizarre claim. Just to give you a sense of how weird that claim is, this is how far apart those countries are. You can see it on your screen right now. Albania and Azerbaijan are not and have never been at war, but they are now laughing at us. Here's the Prime Minister of Albania making fun of Trump with French President Macron and the President of Azerbaijan at an international summit today.
You should make an apology to us, because you didn't congratulate us for the peace deal that President Trump made between Albania and Azerbaijan.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. So, and you worked very hard.
All around the world, Trump is the butt of the joke. And it's a little less funny to many people living here.
I mean, my God, we've got the White House threatening investigations in jail time because an escalator stopped. Walk up the damn stairs. This stuff happens. This is life. Do not normalize this. So I'm going to continue to approach them. I'll continue to work with them. We'll continue to deliver. And I said, if there are lawful laws that are in place, we will follow that. If we need to challenge in court, we'll challenge in court. But this idea that you've got to go and kiss the ring, or you've got to go and give some type of award to get basic services that he swore an oath to defend, that is outrageous. So no, I will not change how we approach that.
Talk about that new member of Congress. This is what Alalita Grijalva said in a statement earlier this year. 2 Republicans in Florida were sworn in during a pro forma sessions less than 24 hours after their elections. The fact that Southern Arizona is being treated differently raises serious questions about political motivations, especially since I have pledged to be the 218th signature on the discharge petition to force a vote on the Epstein files. Do you have a sense, Congressman, of legally how long they can wait before swearing Grijalva in?
I mean, they can wait the whole Congress. It's really up to the Speaker of the House. It's unprecedented. And again, if they're going to keep the Congress shut down, they're keeping the country shut down. So I feel for our troops who are not going to be paid by the 15th of the month, the air traffic controllers who are supposed to make sure planes aren't crashing, FBI agents who are investigating terrorism cases who are also not going to be paid by the 15th of the month. And again, for what? Because you don't want to swear in somebody who's going to force a vote on the Epstein files? Or the Epstein files and protecting Donald Trump that important that everyone else would have to suffer? I mean, it's really remarkable. And I hope that, the country demands that their legislators get back to Washington and reopen Congress.
There
In some ways, you can call this an Epstein shutdown because we had many, many months to avoid the shutdown by negotiating with Republicans to avoid it.
Thursday, Castro Valley Congressman Eric Swalwell alleged the government shutdown is an excuse for the Trump administration to delay releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files.
But what did Republicans do? During the summer, something I've not seen in my 13 years in Washington, they ended the summer early by 2 weeks to send us home to avoid votes on releasing the Epstein files.
Swalwell says the shutdown will have real consequences, impacting air traffic controllers, U.S. troops, and the healthcare system.
The big, brutal bill took 2 million Californians off their health care. It closed rural hospitals. It didn't kill cancer, it killed cancer research.
Democrats are demanding funding for healthcare subsidies set to expire at the end of the year under the Affordable Care Act, a move they say could drive up premiums for millions nationwide.
The party in charge is the party responsible. So if he can get his head in the game and come to the negotiating table and be the great negotiator that he thinks he is, we can get out of it.
I heard at school today that the government shutting down is all the Democrats' fault. So I decided to look into it. Here's what I found. Sources in the caption. Okay, so right now, the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. That means they basically hold the purse strings when it comes to government funding. But here's the twist. Democrats are refusing to just pass a plain funding bill because it doesn't protect health care. If the Affordable Care Act subsidies expire, people's insurance premiums could go up.
Democrats want to give illegal immigrants health care at your expense? Is that what the government shutdown fight is all about? Is it really based on a word game that could actually cost Americans hundreds in health care? Here's the trick that President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance are playing on you. It's a word game trick. Yes, some migrants get health care benefits, but they're not illegal immigrants. They're called lawfully present. They include refugees, asylum seekers, DACA recipients, people with work visas. They have legal status. They pay taxes. They're following the rules. Back in March, Republicans stripped health care from 1.4 million of these legal immigrants in Trump's tax bill. Now the Republicans are calling that same group illegals to make the Democrats look bad for wanting to restore the cuts. And the actual undocumented immigrants, the illegal immigrants, they can only get emergency room care, which is a fraction of 1% of healthcare spending. They can't get Medicaid, they can't get Medicare, or ACA subsidies. That's been the federal law. Since 1996, nothing has changed. Here's what matters to your wallet. Without these ACA subsidies, 24 million American citizens will see premiums jump 75%. That's hundreds of dollars more per month for health insurance for American citizens. So don't fall for a word game. The fight here is about keeping healthcare affordable for Americans. Share so people know what's really at stake. What do you think? You can drop your comments below and follow me. I'm Sue O'Connell. I'm a political commentator, and you can watch me on NBCBoston.com and on YouTube.com/NBCBoston.
And really, fascists always lose.
They always lose.
Always lose.
Hey, failure isn't an option.
Absolutely.
It's not an option.
What's your name?
My name's Ted.
Ted.
Yeah.
Ted, dude, you're doing the Lord's work out here, man. We really appreciate you.
We all are. Get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Get out of your comfort zone.
Dude, the honking is amazing.
I know. People are. And we're not trying to. I'm not going to change anyone's mind out here. It's more just galvanizing people to not be like, oh, I got to give up. It's too much all at once. And so it just gives people hope. And so I see people like with their fists out the window or clapping, and it's just like,
love it.
I leave and I'm like, so much better than doom scrolling. Because that's what I was doing before. It's like, all right, I guess I'll go on a corner, and that's better for my mental health.
Absolutely, dude. This is so inspiring. So, like, everybody, please do this also. Take action and come. Make sure you're showing up on. And we in Portland, we're not It's
a war zone. Join the war zone. Please join the war zone.
Oh yeah, look everybody, look.
Crazy
oh my gosh. Oh, it's awful here.
War zone.
Wow. All right, man.
Cool,
Thank you so much.
Trump announced that he would send troops into Chicago, supposedly to defend immigration facilities there. Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker called on Chicago and Illinois residents to get out there and document everything these guys are doing.
People of Illinois, we need your help. Get out your cell phones, record and narrate what you see. Put it on social media. Peacefully ask for badge numbers and identification. Speak up for your neighbors. We need to let the world know that this is happening and that we won't stand for it.
Democratic Governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, speaking today as Trump sends some number of troops to that city. Let me show you one other thing that Governor Pritzker said today.
Donald Trump and Kristi Noem and Tom Homan said they were targeting the worst of the worst criminals. They lied, and they continue to lie. 60% of the individuals that ICE has taken in Illinois this year have no criminal convictions of any kind. ICE is running around the loop harassing people for not being white. Just a year ago, that was illegal in the United States. Now, ICE is making it commonplace. That's not making America great. In any other country, if federal agents fired upon journalists and protesters when unprovoked, what would we call it? If federal agents marched down busy streets, harassing civilians and demanding their papers, what would we say? I don't think we'd have any trouble calling it what it is: authoritarianism. So let's not pretend it's something else when it happens in our American cities.
When he talks about federal agents firing upon journalists, he's talking, among other things, about a correspondent for the local CBS station in Chicago having a pepper ball shot at her in her car as she drove past an ICE facility within the past few days.
Trump administration is actually not following through on what they said. They said the focus was on safety and security of our communities. And in fact, they are not going after criminals. They are going after family members. They are making kids in schools afraid that if they get off the school bus, their parents might not be there when they get home.
So that is former Congresswoman and current candidate for governor of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger. You see, the current governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, has required by executive order that Virginia police and law enforcement entities help ICE. They're required to help ICE do exactly what she was just describing. Take kids' parents away and invade workplaces and take people out of courtrooms that are doing it legally, et cetera, et cetera. If she becomes governor, she's going to end the police cooperation with ICE. What we've seen across the country is that governors that stand up to this administration have the most success in keeping their bullshit out of their states. Governor Pritzker kept the guard out of Illinois. Governor Moore kept the guard out of Maryland. And so now if Abigail Spanberger becomes governor, she's going to keep ICE at bay in Virginia. That's what the fuck we need. Listen, I've got to take a moment from everything happening in the world to talk about my local politics because I live in Virginia. Early voting has begun. Did you vote yet? Because you need to do that. Because how Virginia looks very, very soon is going to be dependent upon whether or not you voted and whether or not law enforcement is helping ICE kidnap mothers and hardworking people and people doing it legally or not is literally going to be in your hands. Go fucking vote.
You have been, I think you've spoken very beautifully, I think, about the state of this country and the world. And I was wondering, before we wrap up here, if you had anything positive to share with us, to inspire us, because not too many people do.
Oh, man, you put me on the spot now.
Yeah, we need
I've 50 years. I've been kind of a musical ambassador for America around the world. And I played and I have this song, Land of Hope and Dreams, which is kind of a prayer to the country, and I played it. We play it every night. We play it every night to, like I say, millions of people. And I know for a fact that that's how many people around the world still see our country. Not as a land of fear, not as a land of divisiveness, not of government censorship, not of hatred, and I basically believe that that's an America that's worth fighting for, and I think that there's
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. Be a good time, gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit, hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Oh yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John.
Hey, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear. On my birthday. Yeah, it's my birthday. It's my birthday. All right, I think I'm coming through. Testing. Hello, is this thing on? Hey guys, thanks a lot so much. Thanks so much for being here today. I do appreciate you on my birthday. I saw all the birthday wishes in there. People wishing me a happy birthday. Just want to say thank you so much for that. Makes this old 65-year-old feel kind of good. I don't know if you can see my shirt. Let me sort of go down here. I got this shirt on my 60th birthday, and I've been recycling it. And just using a Sharpie. I figure, if Donald Trump can use Sharpies to do stuff, then so can I. So I just every year I just change the number. This is my birthday shirt. This is my birthday shirt now. I wear this every year on my birthday since my 60th. But thanks, guys, so much. This is October 3rd. And it is currently about 80 degrees here in beautiful Las Vegas. A high expected of 86 degrees today. So a nice day for my birthday. And again, I appreciate everyone being here. My goal, if anyone is interested in, giving me a gift, if on my birthday. The best thing, I think, of course, super chats and all that stuff is fine, and I love that. But a really quick and easy and very cheap thing you could do is if you're not already a subscriber, you could subscribe. I was really hoping to get to 4,200 total subscribers by the end of today. So we would need 88 or something like that. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and you'll be glad you did. Maybe, I don't know. Let me just see if I can set this back a little bit. Maybe I can get my shirt in there. Oh well. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate you being here on my birthday and hanging out with me. And I did see earlier, I guess it has sort of, whoops, what did I do? There we go. I was just trying to get to all messages. Well, I did see Sandy Foltz was in here very, very early. And I think Nick Rich. So thank you guys. You guys came in really early, and then there was Roxanne and Gin Up the Bass was here, or has been here. I can't go to the top of the chat now. It won't let me do that, but I am picking up right where it says PTG 200 LBF Beat says love his intro. Boy, that skipped out a lot because I know there was a lot between the beginning and that chat. But so I didn't mean to, if I skipped you or didn't, it's just I can't help it. It won't let me go back up to the top. You know, that's as per usual. Roxanne says, welcome sparklers. Yeah, thank you to the sparklers. Thank you to Andrea and Aaron. I was watching the House Sparks, and I saw you guys put in the raid. So thank all the sparklers for raiding on over here. I do appreciate you guys coming over, and thanks to Andrea and Aaron for doing that. And thanks for coming over. Damon Dog, the big dog's here. He says, talk some birthday shit. I am officially old, I guess. I'm 65. I think I'm officially at retirement age, I think. I don't know. They keep changing the year of that, but wow, 65. 65 and I'm still alive. Isn't that something? 65 and I'm still kicking. Wow. Wow, I'm just thinking about it, and it's kind of freaks you out a little bit. This kind of freaks you out. This is kind of I guess this is, I didn't really stop to think about it. I guess this is kind of like a milestone year, 65. I don't know. It's kind of weird. And you know how Hal Sparks talks about he does his New Year's resolutions on his birthday. I think I'm going to do that this year, and I'm going to have some resolution. Maybe to not be so mean to my listeners or something. I don't know. I just heard a squeaky noise out there. Maybe not to yell at my lovely viewers and listeners. Sometimes I do that, and so that I think I'll resolve. That's my resolve to not be such a dick to you guys, because you guys are wonderful people. Soulcraft's here. Hey, Soulcraft says we played a show with them years ago. I don't know who you're talking about. It could not be Bruce Springsteen, right? You didn't play with Bruce, did you? Well, maybe you did. Who might have say such a thing? Josh is here. Hey, Josh, good to see you. There's Michael McAndrews. Thank you, Michael, for coming on in. There's Nick Rich in the old chat room there, the driver's lounge. Christina Weibel is here. Christina says, deport insurrectionists. Yeah. I agree. Send them out to Epstein's Island. They should turn Epstein's Island into like a penal colony, and they can stick all the insurrectionists out there or something. There's Aaron West with the thumbs up. Thank you, Aaron. And thank you for setting up the raid from Hal. Jolie coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jolie. Yippee to Jolie. Thank you so much. Jolie, and you do too much. I mean, you're always modding, and you've been here since the beginning. You sent me a great birthday gift. I got a birthday gift sent to me, guys, from Jolie. It was really great. I really haven't had a chance to really get into it, but it's some great equipment that hopefully I can use for the show. Like a little soundboard, a little sound mixing board, and some microphones, and all kinds of cool stuff. And so hopefully I'm going to see if it'll work on my phone. I haven't had a chance to do that. But thank you, Jolie. That was really awesome of you for doing that. Appreciate you. We got crazy. Crazy Insane Alan is here. Hey, Crazy Insane Alan, thanks for coming by. If you haven't subbed, I would, and you're wondering, gee, what can I get Trucker John for his birthday? Hit the sub button, hit that subscription button, and that would be awesome. Manda's here. Hey, happy. Oh, I was reading what you said. You said happy birthday. Thank you, Amanda, for the happy birthday wish, and thank you for being here. I do appreciate you. If you're still here, just know that I know these chats happened. Well, actually, these are not too old. Probably about 10 minutes ago. Christina Weibel's here. Hey, thank you, Christina, for the happy birthday wish. Tim Farrell's here. Thank you, Tim, for the birthday wish. But Michael McAndrews, $20. Michael McAndrews, yippee! Thank you so much. Very nice of you. Very kind. I appreciate that, Michael. And thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being an avid Trucker John watcher and a truckler. I don't know if it's Jamie FH or Jaime FH, but thank you for being here. And I apologize if I'm not saying the name right. If you're new here and you haven't subbed, today's a sub day. Today's a big subscription day. We could, if we can get to over 40, if we can get to 4,200 by the end of the day, not the end of the show necessarily, but by the end of the day, that would be great. Roxanne says, happy birthday. Yeah, happy birthday. Oh, Roxanne was singing to me. Thank you, Roxanne. Susie Jones became a member at the driver level. Susie Jones, yippee. Thank you so much, Susie. I do appreciate you. We have memberships starting as low as $1.99 a month. And as far as I know, I think we kind of confirmed yesterday that it's still $1.99. So thank you, Susie. I do appreciate you for doing that. We got PDG 200 LLBFB says time for SSI. I would be dead without it. And it always worries me, this Trump and Republicans and what they want to do to SSI. It's always scary. Thank you, Susie Jones. Says happy birthday. Damon Dog with a $4.99 super chat. Yippee, Damon Dog. Thank you so much. I'll give you a thumbs up and a like. Damon Dog says, happy birthday, John. Well, thank you, Damon Dog. I appreciate you so much for that. Squirrel Girl's here. Hey, Squirrel Girl. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by. We got William here. Hello, William. Sandy with the 99 super sticker. Thank you, Sandy. Sandy Folds. Yippee for that. I do appreciate you for doing that. Nick says, wash that T-shirt. That would be bad luck. I haven't washed it since my 60th birthday. No, it's gone through the laundry. It's gone through the laundry a few times. Let's skip it on down a little bit here. I'm going to say hi to everybody. And I want to thank everybody. Christina's going on a smoke break. Smoke them if you got them. Surrender Monkey says, I'm impressed. I'm 51. When it happens next time, I have zero plans of wearing clothes, but you have a troll. You've got a troll in me. I don't know. Karen Ames is here, says, I'm typing on my phone while watching on my iPad. That's funny because I'm doing the show from my phone while looking at the chat on my iPad. Squirrel says, Trucker John, 65, welcome to Medicare. Right, exactly. I am enrolled. I'm enrolled. Bethany Arbaro, thank you so much for the $1.49 super sticker with a piece of cake on it. Thank you so much. Yippee to Bethany. I appreciate that. Let's see. Karen Ames says, so a big happy birthday, TJ. Thank you, Karen. Roxanne 79, $4.99 super sticker. Super chat, I mean. Thank you. Yippee to Roxanne 79. Thank you so much. Thumbs ups and a big old heart going out to Roxanne 79. Thank you so much for that. DPD 5844 says, September 30th on the south side of Chicago, the Nazi Gestapo rappelled down from helicopters, busting out windows, dragging naked, crying children from their beds. The children were placed in U-Hauls. Yeah, it's disgusting. And then they ended up, the people that they released back to the home, They went back and the place was completely trashed. It is like a dystopian nightmare. This Trump administration, this Trump shit show. It's getting more and more dystopian by the day. So we need good governors and good Democrats and good people of all stripes to stand up to this dictator. And I don't really have any birthday memes, but I do have this, and so this is a reminder. We got No King's Day on October 18th, just in a couple weeks from now. Protest while it's still legal, and even when it's not legal, we need to we'll protest, because we got to stand up to this dictator who is obviously not only is he a dictator, but he's in a really, really steep mental decline here, and that could make him even more dangerous. Because who knows what his grasp of reality is. Hey, we got Asburn Knutson. Hey, thank you for that 100. And I've looked this up before. I forget what it's a kronar. Is it like Norwegian kronar? I forget what that translates into in US dollars, but thank you so much. Yippee! I do appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the donation, the dono to the show, and making my birthday a little special. Asburn Knudsen says, happy birthday. Search Epic Happy Birthday Song on YouTube, Trucker John. Alrighty, Epic Happy Birthday Song. I will do that. And with that the goal was achieved. It was achieved. Thank you so much, all you guys. We already achieved the goal within just a few minutes. You guys are awesome. We got 126 watches, 77 thumbs ups. The bad news is we are operating like a bunch of slimy, sleazy, disgusting Republicans with that deficit, that like deficit. So if you would hit the thumbs up and get us more to at least a balanced budget, or maybe even a surplus, I would greatly appreciate that. So make sure you hit that like button. That would be great. Christina Weibel says, I'm only 6 months behind you, John. All righty. Welcome to the club pretty soon. David Dog says, it's weird being the same age as old people. Yeah. What is all these old people around here? Janelle's Walker's here. Thank you, Janelle, for the happy birthday wish. Crazy in St. Alan says he's 72. Congratulations for making it to 72. I think at some point it's like every year is like, whoa, congratulations. You made it. You made it another trip around the sun. Karen Ames says, I think it's now 67 for us. Oh, okay. Yeah, you might be right. I know they keep changing it. So John Glad's here. I'm always glad to see John Glad in the chat. Thank you for being here, John. I appreciate you. Now, I had a feeling, it's my birthday, and we probably was going to meet the goal. And so I was going to put the goal at 65, just because it's my birthday and I'm 65. But it only goes up to 50. So then I thought, well, should I put it at 50? But then I thought, well, no, because I wanted it to be 65. Because I'm 65. So I just kept it at 5. But if you guys want, I can put another goal up there. But thank you so much. You guys are awesome for that. Paul Burrows is here. Says, I'll be 71 on November 9th. Good on you, Paul Burrows. Up there still working. Still a working man in that truck. Up there in Idaho. Stephanie B2 is here. Hey, Stephanie. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. PDG 200 FBLB. LBFB says, I understand the feeling. I was born in 1958. 1958. Yeah, a lot of us are in this. A lot of you guys, all you trucklers, not all you guys, but well over 50% of my audience are in this demographic. This, I think, basically 55 and older or something like that. So we're all either nearing the retirement age, or we're at retirement age, or we're past that retirement. The age of eligibility and stuff. So. Yeah, we're all in it. We're all in this together. Nick Rich, go reach. Yeah, you guys were awesome today. Surrender Monkey says 65 and still wearing clothes. A man who has plans to still be part of the community. MJ Daniel says 63 in November. My resolution is for myself and the U.S. to make it through the lunatic administration. Yeah, I don't know if that's a resolution for me, but that's like a goal. That's a hope and a dream right there, that we make it through this fucking shit show of a Donald Trump administration. That's my hope and my dream. Let's just for the love of God, let's somehow make it through this shit show. And it's not just a shit show. It's worse than that. This Trump thing it's worse than just a shit show, because this is dangerous. I mean, I'm waiting any day now for the next pandemic to start. And I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And we're only 9-10 months into this administration. It's a nightmare, and I'm just hoping and praying to get through the nightmare before too much is done, too much damage is done. But on that happy note, let's move on here. On my birthday, here we are getting all gloomy, but the Trump shit show doesn't stop even for Trucker John's birthday. Paul Burrow says Epstein Island is already a penis island. Because I said penal colony. That was funny. Paul. Soulcraft says iPhone has cool audio gear, iRig, etc. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that box there and checking it out. There might be an impromptu video today, like on the other day when I was trying to figure out StreamYard. There might be one of those popping up with me checking out the new equipment. So be on the lookout for that. Squirrel Girl, $20 super chat. Squirrel Girl, thank you so much. Yippee. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you a thumbs up and a big old heart. And thank you so much for that. That goes a long way, helping us keep the show going and growing and all that good stuff. Remember, you guys, another great way to, wish me a happy birthday is if you haven't subscribed, is to hit that sub button or share the show out. Try to get all your friends and neighbors and the mailman and the dog catcher and everyone to subscribe to the show. Your mechanic. Who has a mechanic? Your doctor. Who has a doctor? Anyhow, but thank you, Squirrel Girl. I appreciate that so much. Let's see what happened to Josh. Most of this thing, because I see Jolie was asking if everything is okay. I kind of skipped out. I don't know if I missed anything, but I hope you're all right, Josh. Hope you're doing well. Squirrel Girl gifted 5 Trucker John memberships. Thank you, Squirrel Girl. Yippee. It was double yippee for Squirrel Girl. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's another great way of helping to support the show and help us grow in memberships. And the 5 that got it, David Windler, whom I've seen in here a lot, so that's great. Cynthia Walker. Seen her before. John Doe. I don't know if I've seen John Doe, but good. And Yakov Estrahaza got one. I've seen Yakov in here before. And Christina and Sun Go Squad got one. That's amazing. That's cool. Thank you so much, Squirrel Girl. Another yippee going out to Squirrel Girl. Thank you so much. And speaking of Christine and Sun Go Squad, we are planning on next Thursday of me being a guest on her show. And as we get closer to the time, we'll promote that. And you guys can check out Christina and Son, Go Squad. And I'll be on the show, and we'll be we'll be yakking. We'll be yakking over there. Nick Rich, 12 noon, so I'm only 10 minutes behind. Nick, that's pretty good for me. That's real good for me. I already drank all my coffee. I'm already to water. I was waiting for Hal to finish his show up, and he went really long, and I drank my coffee already. Usually, I'm sipping on my coffee during most of my show. PDG 2200 LBFB says, "Yep, Medicare saved me," and that's what the shutdown's about. In great part, Democrats are trying to save Medicare and trying to save and plus the ACA more so, I guess, but and eventually trying to that's why we need to win in the midterm congressional elections in next year, about a year from now, so we can try to do something, because I think in the big beautiful bill is all kinds of Medicaid cuts. So we need to vote. Cynthia Walker says, "I'm 73 and surprised." You made it, Cynthia, and you've got a long time to go. You've got a long way to go. Roxanne79 says, "TJ, that super chat was from me and Jen." Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Yippee to Roxanne and Jen. There, so Jen doesn't feel slighted. I don't want Jen to feel slighted. Amanda says, "It's so awful." Sandy Fold says, "TJ, now you can enroll in Social Security." Yeah. Surrender Monkey with a 10 pounds. 10 pounds. Thank you, Surrender Monkey. Yippee to Surrender Monkey from across the pond. Thank you so much. It says, Surrender says, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Wait, it's not your fault. You are not 69. I am not. And it is not my fault." I don't know if that was just a way of trying to get 69 snuck in there or what. But thank you, Surrender Monkey. I appreciate you. For 10 pounds. I feel heavier already. But MJ Daniel says, and on one of them, about the Chicago Rays, I think one of them is on the video saying, "Fuck those kids." See, these fucking ICE motherfuckers, these are the Jan Sixers. And I'm not saying every one of them was there on January 6th at the Capitol building, but these are the Jan Sixers. This is the crowd. This is the people. These are the supporters of Jan 6. And I don't doubt that. Oh shit. That scared the shit out of me. It was my bathroom. We won't. The toilet seat fell down. It fell over. Anyhow, scared the shit out of me. What was I saying? Oh yeah, these Ice Ages. These are Jan Sixers. These are white nationalists. These are fucking Nazis, racists. That is who ICE is. Especially in these past 10 months that have been hiring in, and this is Trump's army. Basically, and they're disgusting. These fuckers are disgusting. I mean, I'm telling you, between these fucking white nationalists that are running and operating and out on the streets for ICE, and then we've got the extrajudicial killings of these little fishing boats off of the coast of Venezuela. This is a fucking nightmare. This is a dystopian fucking nightmare, man. And we got to stand up to it. No King's Day, 10/18. Christina says, release the Trumpstein files. And I hope they release it and it's unredacted and we know exactly how many times Trump went over there, and how he's implicated. In other words, I hope they don't release something that is going to be, cryptic or whatever, or not the whole thing. I mean, I know there are people that are, Democrats and even like Massey and stuff, some Republicans. They will know. I think they will know if what gets released isn't accurate or isn't complete, and that they'll be there to make sure everyone knows that. Damon Dog says, heading to D.C. with my Fuck Trump flag October 18th. There you go. That's awesome, Damon Dog. Damon Dog, the big dog. MJ Daniel says, we the people will not forget or forgive. The Soulcraft says, I've been rereading Flow My Tears by Policeman. Wait, Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said by PK Dick. Not PD Dick. PK Dick. It hits close. Is PK Dick the one that wrote Electric something or other? Nick says hi to Big Hook, so I must have skipped Big Hook. Oh, there's Big Hook. Hello, Big Hook, the Big Canuck. Thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you coming in on my birthday. It's my birthday. Thanks for coming on in. Anna Moore's here. Hello, Anna. Good to see you. Let me see. I'm just going to skip on down a little bit. Big Hook. So are the Dodgers going to win another World Series? Well, I'm hoping. I'm rooting for them. They're playing the Phillies next in the next round of these playoffs, starting on Saturday. It's not going to be an easy task. No one said it to be easy. I'm not saying the Dodgers are guaranteed, but we'll see how it goes. All I know is I'm rooting for him. I'll be rooting for him. Donald Schilling, 1955. Is that the year you were born, I guess? Maybe? I don't know. But hey, Donald, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I appreciate you stopping by on this big, beautiful birthday show. How's that, Donald Trump? Jolie says, I ordered No Kings in America flags for my truck. Awesome, Jolie. Now, guys, Damon Dog and Jolie, we need to see some video coverage of you guys running around in your trucks with those flags on. Mad Mac, the geezer demographic. Yeah, we are in the geezer demographic. 72, we're boomers. Well, not all of us are boomers. I think it goes up to 63. 1963 or so is the last boomers. And so we've got some folks that are in the whatever the next one is after that. I mean, we have folks that are even younger than that. But I mean, as far as that, what I was saying, I think about 57% of my audience is 55 and over. So those, the 55 to 60-year-old or 62-year-old would be the next generation after boomer, whatever that is. I don't know. I don't really keep up too much of that. I just know that I'm a boomer because everyone talks about boomers. And Sunnyfall CJ, I just sent you the happy birthday song to urgent email. Well, thank you, Sandy. I'll look at it later. I can't really look at it when I'm doing the show, but thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. Oh yeah, did I say Live long and prosper, Mr. Spock. Thanks for being here, Mr. Spock. I appreciate you. And Mad Max, Slava Ukraini. Slava Ukraini to you. We got MM Note. Says happy birthday weekend, Trucker John. Woohoo! Well, thank you, MM Note. Not sure if I've seen you in the chat before, so I do appreciate you coming in, and thank you for the happy birthday wish. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I would really love to get to 4,200 subscriptions by the end of the day. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, maybe you would consider doing that. That would be great. Anna Moore says, I didn't have access to last night's Thursday football. Did the Rams win? Okay, spoiler alert for anyone who didn't watch the game. Here's a spoiler alert. In 3, 2, 1, no, the Rams lost. And that sucks because I'm a big Rams fan, and I love the Rams. And it's really, it sucks. And if you're a Niners fan, I'm sure you're very happy, and you thought it was a great game. I thought the Rams came out really, it looked like they weren't ready. And I do know both teams are on a short week, so you know it's not like the Niners weren't also on a short week. They're both on the short week, but it just and plus the Niners had to travel, even though it's not that big of a travel. But you know they're the visiting team, and half the stadium was Niner fans. But to me in the first half, the Rams it just seemed like they weren't ready. They didn't seem like they even wanted to be out there. I noticed a lot of missed tackling. Because I was watching the game and I'm going, guys, do you not want to tackle tonight? What's the deal? We're not tackling tonight. Okay, I get it. We're just playing touch football tonight. Is that what we're doing? Where's the flag? Where's the little flags? The pool, because the tackling was horrendous. The line wasn't getting after the quarterback. The whole first half, the Rams just were I wouldn't say lethargic or anything like that, but they were just out of sorts. And then the next problem, especially in the second half, was the goddamn fumbling and missing catches that hit receivers in the hands. And mainly, yes, I'm talking to you, the running back Corum, whatever his name is. And even old Kyron Williams, who's a very good running back and had some very good runs, and he scored a touchdown, but he fumbled at some really crucial times that really lost the game in big part. It was a big part of their loss. So fumbling, first half, acting like they hadn't woke up yet from their from getting up in the morning or whatever. And then also, I think a lot of miscommunication between Matthew Stafford and Davante Adams. They're not in sync. Now, they've hit a few big plays over the course of the season, a couple of big catches. And last night, Davante had a couple of really good catches. But there was at least 3 or 4 that I saw where Davante went one way and Stafford's ball went the other way. And that's not because Stafford can't throw. Stafford is very good at throwing the ball where he wants it. The problem is Davante's not going where he's supposed to be going. So Adams is not in sync because a lot of times, he knows the plays. I'm not saying that he doesn't know the plays. The players know the plays. They know the playbook. They go over it and they study it, and it's in team meetings and there's film study. They know the fucking plays. But receivers, really, really good receivers, they have to know how to improvise, and they have to know where to break, where to where the softness in the defense is, and all that kind of stuff. And you can see that when Stafford has that kind of communication, that kind of where you're really on the same page. You've seen it with him and Cooper Kupp. You see it with him and with Puka Nacua. But him and Davante Adams, they're not there yet. Now, he's new. I mean, this is their first season together. I'm hoping that as we go through the season, they'll get better and better at that kind of. It's sort of this sort of it's like an unspoken thing. It's like of being on the same page and everything. So that was the big problems. First half they sucked. Offense wasn't flowing. The defense looked like they didn't want to tackle. The second half, you had the fumbles, you had the missed catches. So these are all things, and then we ended up going to overtime and losing in overtime by a field goal. So it's not like we got blown out. Even with all those mistakes, we still almost won the game. So I'm not too worried about it. There's still a long season to go, and at the end of the season, I think the Rams are still going to be at the top of the division. And I think, that's why we have a season, a long season, and that's why we still got time to work things out. The Rams still have time for Stafford and Adams, to really get that good quarterback, wide receiver relationship going. And then as far as these guys not catching the ball, like the running backs coming out to catch the ball, you just got to do that. You're going to get benched if you keep doing that. That Corum guy, he's going to get benched if he, And then Williams is really, really good. And that one fumble at the goal line with the last few seconds of the game in regulation, that was him fumbling. I mean, the guy, the defender, what they do now is they've been doing it for a long time. They punch the ball out. They try to punch the ball out. And it looked like when the defender was going to punch the ball out, he actually kind of punched the runner kind of in his face mask. I'm not saying it was face masking, and I'm not saying he was trying to punch him in the face, but I think he kind of glanced his helmet, and then I think he punched the ball, out after that. And I think that initial shock of getting hit like that in the face, I think that's what caused Williams to fumble. That was a tough fumble. But we can't do that. We can't fumble like that. So they lost. But we pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off, we get ready for the next opponent. And I'm not even sure who it is. I forget who they're playing next, but anyhow, I'm in Dodger mode right now. Dodgers beat the Reds in the wild card series 2-0, and they'll be playing the Philadelphia Phillies tomorrow evening, I think. I think it might be 3:30 Pacific time. Phillies, Dodgers, for the divisional series. All right. Bethany says pandemic will be measles or polio. Yeah, right. We're going to see outbreaks. The diseases that we've really had a handle on for a long, long time with vaccines. But thanks to assholes like RFK Jr. and assholes like Ron DeSantis and assholes like Donald Trump, we're going to see resurgence of those diseases, unfortunately. MM Note says, I was watching Chicago ICE protest this AM, sad and unnecessary. Swinner Monkey says, oh dear, you made my comment about the fact you are 65 and not running about the community naked weird. Did he not move to Florida yet? When you say he, are you talking about me or who? I don't even know who you're talking about. And I don't even remember the comment about running around naked. Roxanne says, Rams, that's a sore subject. It was a close game, went into overtime, but the 49ers got the win. And they were very lucky to do so. They were very lucky that the Rams were just off. It was an off night for the Rams. And like I said, I'm not worried about it. We're going to work it out. And at the end of the season, we will be on the top of the division. We will win we will win the division. Mark my words. Write this down. Get your pen, your pad. Write this down. Trucker John is calling it right now. The Rams will win the NFC West division. They will be the champion. NFC. They will be the NFC West champions. Right? You can mark my words. Hey, Robert Perez from down San Diego Way is here. Hey, Robert Perez, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Always good to see Robert. Donald Schilling is here. Donald Schilling said everyone needs to get their vaccines. They'll Darwin themselves out of existence. Yeah, if you can get one, get one. Absolutely, get your vaccine, get your boosters, all that stuff. I highly recommend it. Michael McAndrew says, try not to eat your pets. Yes, please. Although, it might come to that, Michael. Asburn Knudsen says, Mr. Spock, naming food animals is a great tradition. The best way to get to eat all of them without sharing with your sensitive kids. That's definitely mid-thread. I'm mid-thread on that there. Big Hook, how far behind is he? I am 21 minutes, Big Hook. You know how this works. Big Hook. Come on, man. This ain't your first time here. You know how it works. Christina says, cool, John. See, now I'm so far behind. I don't even know what Christina is referring to. Michael McAndrews says, I never make typos. And I do try to sort of edit a little bit sometimes if I see an obvious typo. Come on, Big Hook. You know how this works. I read the chats as they come, as I'm scrolling down here. Roxanne79 says, cool, John, when are you? And Christina says, as I said, next Thursday. Next Thursday, I believe she said it's 7 p.m. Eastern time. But as we get into next week, I'll be making more. I'll be sure to remind you and all that stuff. Nick Rich, Big Bullshit Bill, actually. What did I say? What did I say? We're down to 91 watching, and 90 thumbs up. So we're so close. We're so close to being good Democrats and operating at a balanced budget. Make sure you hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Paul Burrow says that a vegan told me that the chicken I was eating had a family. I told her that's why I ordered the family bucket, so nobody was left behind. Yeah. Hey, Tara Buster's here. Hey, Tara, good to see you. Thanks. So I'm not sure if you're still here because I know I'm 20 minutes behind in the chat. But thank you, Tara, for being here. You guys, Tara will be on tonight, the Tara Buster show. Tara, if you're in here, the exact time, I think it might be 6 p.m. my time, which is Pacific time, which would be 9 p.m. Eastern. I might be wrong, but you guys can always look up Tara on the YouTube channel, and there she is. But she's going to have her show come on later on tonight. It'll be pretty much right after Hal. So here's the lineup, guys. You can check out Hal Sparks today at 3 p.m. Pacific, and then watch Hal, and then after that, go over to Tara Devlin from Tara Buster Show. Really great show, and hopefully, I know I'm 20 minutes behind in the chat. We'll probably get Aaron or Jolie. We'll probably put the link in there, so we can just link right up. And look at there, I see we are acting more like good Democrats, and we are at a surplus now of likes. So thank you so much for hitting that like button. I appreciate you. Cynthia Walker says, I'm a sparkler from House Show. Thank you, Cynthia. Thanks for coming on over. I do appreciate you for doing that. Damon Dog says, I was gifted a membership by Nordes, and Christina and Sun Ghost Squad, and I forgot to watch last night. She was interviewing Moms Russo. I can't believe I missed it live. Well, it happens. It happens. You can, and I know, going there live is what you wanted to do, but you can go watch the replay and give them a thumbs up, at least. Nick Rich says, hi, Tara Buster. You were great with Hal today. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Surrender Monkey says it took 5 tries to get 69 in Super Chat. See, I knew you were trying to work that in somehow. Don Schilling, Jan 6 types. Yeah, these ICE agents are the Jan 6 types. They're all insurrectionists. They don't really like the Constitution. They don't really like democracy. Really, what they want is just a white nationalist authoritarian government, because they think that they're safe, because all the brown people and all the gay people and all the Jewish people, and they're the ones that are going to be put in camps or whatever, or made slaves or something. And just because you're born with a white skin, they're going to be safe. But of course, a true authoritarian is going to fuck it up for everybody, I think, unless you just kiss the authoritarian dictator's ass. Go watch. I always recommend, and I always mess up the title, but that movie, that Stalin movie that came out a few years ago. And you can see how even these really high up people in government were all paranoid and scared that they were going to be the next ones put on the non-loyalty list and put into a gulag or worse. And I know there's someone in here, I think it might be Bethany or somebody who always knows what I'm talking about, and they put the right name in. It was like The Death of Stalin, maybe, or something like that. Watch that movie, and you're going to see that's what Donald Trump, and that's what these authoritarians would like to make America be, like this, like Soviet America or something. MM Note with happy birthday weekend. Thank you, MM Note, for that birthday wish. I do appreciate you. Karen Ames says, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, etc. 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 Yep. And I say fuck those guys. They're a bunch of assholes. That's what I say. Kimchi's here. Kimchi, the goddess Kimchi, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the $9.99 super chat. Yippee, going out to Kimchi. She says, happy birthday, TJ. Well, thank you so much. And there's your thumbs up, and there's the heart for you. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Did I skip Suzanne? Whoops. Suzanne's here. Okay. Hi, Suzanne. Suzanne Forsepi. Good to see you. She says, happy birthday, Trucker John. It's my birthday. It's your birthday, too? We share a birthday? Well, happy birthday, Suzanne. Happy birthday. Well, look at there. I share a birthday with Suzanne Forsepi. I hope you're having a good day. Suzanne says, Libras are cool. I think we're pretty cool. I do think Libras are pretty cool. For the most part. Just skip it on down. Elizabeth Fernandez is here. Happy birthday, Trucker John. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for that happy birthday wish. I do appreciate you. Karen Ames says, "Hey John, how about the game last night?" Oh, well, I just talked about it, so I know this chat was probably you probably put that in before I talked about it. So Karen says 49ers were awesome. I don't think they were awesome. They were lucky. Like I said, they just got lucky. The Rams were had a bad night. They were off. You could tell they weren't really mentally into it, and that's no. I mean, that's no fault of the Giants. I mean, the team should have been ready. You know, this is a veteran organization, a veteran team. They should have been ready. So it's not the Niners' fault that the Rams weren't ready. I guess it sounds like I'm making an excuse, but I mean that's just how I saw it. I just saw that they just seemed not ready. They didn't seem focused, and that's on them though. That's on them. They should have been ready. They should have been prepared. They should have been mentally prepared. I think they were physically prepared. I just don't think they were mentally prepared to do. There was something off. You got to admit, this was not. This was not a typical Rams team. They were very out of sorts. So I don't think it was I don't think the Niners were awesome, and that's not taken away from their win. They won fair and square. They won the game. They deserved the W, and congratulations to them for beating the Rams. But I don't really think they were awesome. They weren't awesome. Now they had some stick-to-itiveness. They stuck in there. Their quarterback was getting the shit beat out of him, and he hung in there. But I see this more of a Ram letdown or Rams. If they had played at their normal intensity and their normal focus, then I think they would have won the game going away. And again, that's not an excuse. I mean, they should have been ready. They shouldn't have been playing with their heads up their asses. Is what they were doing. Imam Note says Hegseth said Friday he ordered a fourth strike on a small boat in the waters of off Venezuela, according to a social media post. I heard that mentioned on Hal's show today. Hal brought that up. So yeah, now that's 4. I mean, this has got to stop. This has got to stop. I mean, the entire Congress should be up in arms about this. These are extrajudicial murders. There's no proof, no evidence, no due process going on here. This has got to stop. And I'm guilty of it maybe just as much as everybody, how we kind of forget about it or that's not top of mind. But this should be a top issue, right up there with Epstein files as far as I'm concerned. I think Epstein files should be number 1 because I think everything Trump is doing is indirectly or directly as a distraction for the Epstein files. So I think Epstein files should be number 1. And then we have we go down from there. Here's Epstein files. But this thing with the boats, I mean this guy should be locked up for that. They should be hauling Trump's ass off to fucking prison for this. This is murder. Donald Trump's a fucking serial killer at this point, as far as I'm concerned. I think I may have skipped someone. I don't know. Because someone said hi to Gen X George, and I didn't see Gen X George come in. So Gen X George, if you're here, hello. Thanks for coming on in. I appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us in the old driver's lounge. It says the Rams lost. Big Hook, the Big Canuck says gins are noted for Gin what? Are noted for pre-computer, pre-internet, pre-iPhone. Hopefully there won't be a post-democracy generation. Which Gen was it? Gen X? I don't know. What Gen are you talking about? Asborn Newton says 49er here, 1976 baby. I can start a 49 here, not 49. Okay. I can start a fire with no tools and program in BASIC on a 8-bit computer and remember a time before the internet and watch black and white TV at my grandma's. General base, Trucker John, let's not forget the 49ers were decimated by injuries and had their backup quarterback. I know. I think I went over all that. Like I said, I'm not worried. I'm not wavering from my prediction. The Rams are going to win the division. I'm just skipping down a little bit here. Nick Rich had to go because some calls. Well, Nick, thanks for being here. I know you're probably gone already, but glad you were able to come in for a bit for a time and hang out with us. I do appreciate you, as always. Kimchi 326. I'm 21. I am my customary a ballpark 20 minutes behind. That's usually where I'm at, about 20 minutes. DPD 5844 says the Nazi fascist white nationalist regime of pedophiles want colleges and universities to sign a pledge that will specifically be gender appropriate, whatever that means, and they cannot criticize the Nazis or no funding. And okay, that's his post. Now I'm talking. And Gavin Newsom, you saw his response. He said to all the colleges and universities that are in California, if you do that, you will not receive any of the California state funding, which is billions and billions. This is multiple billions of dollars. So good on Gavin Newsom. That's what we need. That's what I'm talking about. We need to stand up to this motherfucker, Donald Trump. Genevieve says, I've written it down, TJ. I think the Rams and your focus should be on being a spoiler and try to sneak into the wild card. No, dude, we're only, 4 or 5 weeks into the season. We got a lot of games to play. Don't get all happy. Don't get all, thinking that your Niners are going to go anywhere. They got lucky tonight. They lost last week. They just barely got lucky and won this week. The Niners aren't going anywhere. They're out. They're out. They're already out, as far as I'm concerned. It's going to be it's going to come down to the Rams and the Seahawks, and the Rams are going to take the division. DPD 5844, $3 Super Sticker. Yippee! Thank you so much, DPD 5844. I do appreciate that. Thanks so much for helping the show and all that good stuff. I do appreciate it. Big Hook, speaking of, and then there's a period, who is currently in Vegas performing. I am worried that ELO might finally hang it up. Jeff Lynne hurt himself and was unable to play guitar. Let's see. Who's currently performing? I don't even know. The Eagles keep coming back to Vegas, and they sell out every crowd. I don't know why there's such a why the Eagles are still so popular. I mean, God, you'd think that they were some current band or something, but they sell out every night that they play. I mean, the Eagles are okay, but the number one, there's the only original left, I think, is Don Henley. So I don't even think they should be allowed to call themselves the Eagles anymore. At least the Grateful Dead, they say Dead and Company because there's only like one left of them original. So at least they have the decency to not try to pass themselves off as being the Grateful Dead. They say Dead and Company. At this point, I think the Eagles should be the Eagles and Company or the Eagle and Company because I think there's only one. But anyhow, the Eagles are playing a lot at the Sphere. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of people playing around town. Michael McAndrews, I saw ELO in Detroit not too long ago. Now, I thought ELO would be really cool at the Sphere. Now, I don't know if Jeff Lynne is going to be able to perform again or if he's, how long he's going to be laid up. And you can't have ELO without Jeff Lynne. So, but I thought for a while now, because I was trying to think, like, who would be cool to see at the Sphere? And I think ELO would be cool to see at the Sphere. But, I haven't heard anything about that. Kiki Street says Apple removes apps that allow anonymous reporting of ICE agent sightings. So, fuck you, Tim Cook. You fucking, sucking up to Donald Trump like that. And there's the link to Terrorbuster. Thank you, Jolie. There's the Terrorbuster link. You guys can go there. You can sub to the show. Hit the notify me button, bell thingy, and when Terror comes on, hopefully you get notified. But I do believe tonight, sometime after House Sparks, Terrorbuster should be coming on. Big Hook, I need some sleep before I go to work. All right, Big Hook, thanks for coming by. I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out a little bit on my birthday. And we'll see you around. We'll see you in the next chat. Probably see you on the next Liberal Dan show on Monday. Another great show, guys. If you're not subscribing to Liberal Dan, you need to. Liberal Dan has a show on YouTube, and he's on every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. 8 p.m. Central. 8 p.m. Central. Fancy with the $5 super sticker or super chat. Thank you, Fancy. Yippee! Going out to Fancy. Thank you so much. And there's a thumbs up and a heart. Fancy says, "Happy birthday, Trucker John. I'm back to work, but wanted to stop by. Have a great birthday." Thank you, Fancy. And you guys, all you guys are making my day really great with all the, not only the donations but the kind words, the happy birthday wishes, the likes, the subscribes, the sharing, all that stuff. The guys are helping make a great day, so I appreciate you. I do appreciate you. Big Hook says, "Happy birthday, Mr. Fowler, and thanks for all you do. Much respect, you old fart." No, thank you, Big Hook. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Mr. Spock says, "Happy birthday." Thank you, Mr. Spock. Paul Burrows is a Scorpio. Yeah. Yeah, Jen of the Bays, I watched the game. You don't need to tell me. And the only reason it looked like they shoved it down the throats of the Rams is because the Rams were playing with their heads up their asses. Like I said, they should have been more mentally prepared, and they weren't. Sean McVay did a piss poor job of getting his team ready for that game. That kind of shit I put on the coaches. That's what, because the players are going to play. They have their talents and they're on the field. But one of the most important things the coach can do is get his fucking team like mentally prepared. And Sean McVay did a shitty job, and the coaching staff did a shitty job of getting their team prepared for that game mentally. Tiki Street says the deposed Syrian tyrant Bashar al-Assad was poisoned in Russia right under his pal Vladimir Putin's nose, according to a human rights watchdog. So sad, not. Wow, is this true? Bashar al-Assad was poisoned? I didn't hear about that. But it's not surprising because that's what Putin does. He likes to poison people. But man. Anna Moore says, TJ, I truly hope you have a great year ahead. Happy birthday. Thank you, Anna Moore. Thank you so much. That's a nice thing to say. I do appreciate you. Falcor's here. Slava Ukraini. Absolutely. Slava Ukraini. Falcor, thanks for being here. Thanks for coming on in. Christina Weibel says they are trying to start a war to cancel congressional elections in 2026. Yeah, Trump would love nothing more than to declare martial law. And then, I mean, that's why he says what he says about Portland. And you saw the video, the guy, nothing's going on in Portland. There's no buildings burning and all this shit. But he'll just say it and say it and say it, and his MAGA followers will believe him. And then when he calls for martial law, they're going to go, oh, yeah, because the world is falling apart, and it'll just be some little things that he's started with his ICE and with his calling troops in, and when they're busting into buildings, and they'll just from little things like that, and he'll go, yeah, this is an emergency. I'm declaring martial law because the whole country is on fire. And the dumbass maggots will believe it, even though they'll be looking around going, gee, I'm glad that's not happening here, because it won't be happening anywhere other than just little tiny little things that he creates, that Trump creates. It's that's why we have to do everything we can, like Pritzker was saying, like, use your phones and record everything. And he was talking specifically about ICE and that abuse that's going on. But I think we also need to record all the stuff that, like Portland, to refute what Trump is saying, that Portland's on fire. Everyone in Portland needs to whip out their cameras and start videoing, what a nice, beautiful day it is, and how peaceful it is. We got to do that too. Richard from Australia, the expat down under's here. Hey, Richard, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Richard watching from Australia, 5:48 a.m. So it's bright and early for Richard. Bright and early. MJ Daniel says, my grandfather's generation helped defeat fascism in Europe, Africa, and the Pacific. We will do the same here in the USA. So just keep pushing, we the people, see what happens. And as long as we can stop fighting each other, and we can band together, people on the left, people on the right, the Trumps of the world, they want us fighting each other. They really do. That's why he's trying to create as much shit and division and derision as he can. Because that's how they win, is by us fighting each other. So we need to come together. We need to stop fighting each other. And once we do that, then it'll be over for Trump and these oligarchs and these fascists and these white nationalists. And it may not ever be 100%, because there's always going to be that faction of white nationalists and racists and that want this authoritarian government. But if 60 or 70% of us can come together, then they're cooked. Mad Matt, go Seahawks. MJ Daniel says, I'm a Rams fan this weekend. Go Hawks. Brooklyn SJU, aka Trixie LaRue. Where you been, Trixie LaRue? Hey, Trucker John, I missed you guys. I missed you too. Where you been? Where you been hiding out? Well, Brooklyn, where you been hiding out? Well, thanks for coming in. I do appreciate you coming in and saying hi. Stephen Sayers is here. Hey, Steve, good to see you. Stephen Sayers says, we are not going to get Epstein files, not until we get a Democratic president, and maybe not even then. Yeah, because Mike Johnson might not ever swear in that new House rep, Democrat from Arizona. He might not ever swear her in through this whole term, this whole congressional term here. You know, Genevieve, I'm not even going to read anything that you talk about the Rams because you're just so full of shit. So I'm just gonna bypass your because you obviously don't know anything about football. You obviously don't know that the Rams are the best team. You just don't. If you can't admit that, then no sense even talking to you. Alton Gillespie's here. Hey, Alton, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in to the old Driver's Lounge from Texas. Brooklyn, kid Trix Lou says, I love the Eagles, but I know that Don Henley just lip syncs to their music. Really? A guy named Phil analyzes music. Joe Walsh still plays with him. Yeah, I know. Joe Walsh is in there, and Joe Walsh has been with the band for a long, long, long time, but he's not really original. But he has been with them, I think, since the late 70s, off and on. So I would consider him, like a real Eagle, I guess. I like the Eagles, but I just think it's I find it kind of amazing though that they sell out every show at the Sphere. I mean, like, yeah, they're good, but I didn't know they were that good or that popular still. I mean, that they sell out. It's like a 17,000 seat, I think, facility or event space there, and so they sell out about whatever it is, 16 or 17,000 seats every time they play there, and they do these residencies where they come, they play, basically like the weekends for a few weeks, and then they go away, and then they come back and do a few more weeks and stuff, and every time they come here, man, they pack them in. I just didn't think they were that, but even like I think it was in sync. You guys, you like is it Gen X that likes NSYNC? Who knew? I didn't think NSYNC. I mean, I'm like, NSYNC, really? When I think of NSYNC, to me they're like a joke. They're just like the butt of jokes, And they were selling out every show at the Sphere, and they were all wearing white. I guess there was something about they told them to wear white. Sometimes they do that, like Beyonce will tell everyone to wear silver glitter. So then I'll see all these people wearing these silver glittery clothes when she's playing here. So that was the NSYNC. I guess they had something on one of their albums. Maybe it was called White or something. So everyone was wearing white to go and who knew they were selling out. I mean, to me, like NSYNC is a joke. They're a fucking joke. But these are diehard, like I guess Gen Xers or something, or whatever But so for you, I guess that's your generation, the Eagles. And look, I guess the Eagles are my generation. I guess I was like a teenager in the '70s, and I liked the Eagles. I thought they were a good band, but I wasn't. And I like their songs just as much as anybody. But my bands in the '70s were like Thin Lizzy and Foghat and Aerosmith, and in the early '70s, it was more like Creedence Clearwater Revival and Three Dog Night. Of course, still listening to the Beatles, even though the Beatles were broken up, but Beatles were still, one of my favorite bands. That's the stuff that was really my favorite stuff. And then the end of the '70s was Van Halen, of course. And the Eagles were, they were very, very popular. They may have sold the most records of anybody in the whole decade. But I don't know. I just don't get it how they sell out in 50 years later. I just don't get it. I guess people, they like what they like. I mean, if Van Halen, if Eddie Van Halen was still alive and the band was together and they were playing the Sphere, then I would try to do everything I could to go see that. So I guess it just depends on who you like. Like really good. Like I said, I don't have anything against the Eagles. I just don't think they're so great that I would plop down hundreds of dollars to go see them. Catherine Real Hill Talks here. Hey, Catherine, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Catherine says hi. TJ, blessed birthday. Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that. I'm skipping on down a little bit here. Skipping on down. Aaron's back. I do see that Aaron is back. Karen Ames says, Kimchi, I'm a Virgo, and my eldest daughter is a Taurus, and my BFF. We get along amazingly because of their level-headedness, big hearts, loyalty, etc., etc., etc. Paul Burrows, I will not comply. Stephen Sayers says, damn, our president wants to find a reason to call martial law to stop the election. This freaks me out big time. Well, and I'm hoping let's say if that scenario plays out, I'm hoping that 300 million people stand up and say, fuck this shit. I don't see 300 million people, and even if you take away, because I don't know how many kids there are, but okay, 150 million people or 200 million people should all be standing up and saying, fuck this shit. We're not going to stand for that. We're voting anyhow. We'll hold our own elections somehow, some way. Catherine Real Health Talk says every citizen needs body cams, front and back, full vehicle dash cams, and full security on and around properties. Yeah, I agree, but not everyone can afford that kind of gear. And I know that prices come down and you can find stuff that's affordable, but it's not affordable for a lot of people. But whoever can do that, then yeah, do it. I say do it. Do it. Do it till you're satisfied, whatever it is. Big Hook says, if you are using phones to record ICE, remove SIM, disable Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, so your phone isn't hijacked by graphite phone malware, which can turn on your camera and mic and read all your encrypted messages. I don't think iPhones have SIM card or a SIM card that I can access to or whatever. I have an iPhone, so I don't think I can do that. Catherine Real Hell Talk says the shit happening in a Chicago suburb is an example that Agent Orange would use to declare martial law. Chicago airspace is now restricted due to credible threats against law enforcement. Yeah, and this is just the beginning, right? This is Chicago is kind of like the test market here. MJ Daniels says much of the same happened in the 1860s. In the Civil War, the wealthy plantation slave owners got the poorest white farmers to die in order to keep their slaves in wealth. Yeah, they convinced them that this was just the war of aggression from the North. This had nothing to do with slavery. That it was all about just the North, inflicting their will on the South and all this kind of shit. Never mind the fact that there were slaves all over the place. Kiki Streets, how much is a Sphere concert? Well, it depends. I've had some passengers tell me that they got Dead and Company seats for like $80 or maybe even cheaper. Whenever I check on Ticketmaster or on the Sphere website thingy, I guess usually the cheapest I see is like almost $200, and because I checked a few times for U2, I wanted to see U2, and whenever I checked, those were like $400 tickets. And then sometimes people would say, yeah, I got mine for like $160. So I don't know. I guess it depends on how close to the concert you check on the tickets. I don't try to. I haven't really tried to buy like on the street or whatever. I don't know, but just checking like Ticketmaster, they're pretty pricey. Like usually anywhere from 180 or 190 to on up to 300-400. I don't really think I've seen anything in the 500 or 600. Well, I guess down at the floor, like for U2, I think the floor seats, some of those I heard were going for like $2,000 and shit like that. But and that was when it first opened, and that was like everyone wanted to be there for the first concert and stuff. But I guess typically it kind of depends on the concert and what you're seeing. But even like the Wizard of Oz movie, because they're playing the Wizard of Oz, which I want to see because it looks really fun and cool. I was looking at that the other day, and even for those, I want to say they were well over $100. Like for Wizard of Oz, like $150 or something. So it's pricey, it's expensive, but if I had the money, and if it's for as far as like a band or a musical act, it would have to be somebody that I really really like. I think that it wouldn't be the Eagles. I really wanted to go to U2, and I regret that I didn't go because I really liked it. I really like U2. And then for this Wizard of Oz, I would really like to check it out just to experience it, but it's pretty expensive. It's like it's at least 150, 180. There might be even $200 seats. I don't know, but it's not cheap. That's cheap, not cheap. Kiki Street says without Glenn Fry, it isn't the Eagles. Yeah, he's not there. I guess his son is in the band, and he does a lot of Glenn Fry stuff. And then what's his name? Vince Gill, right? Like he was a country star, more of a country. He came up more of a country guy. He's in the band, and he does a lot of Glenn Fry stuff also. But I heard the son is in the band. But yeah, still, so it's all different. Like I said, at this point, it should be the Eagle and Friends or something. And there's Catherine Real Hot Talk says saw Eagles with Vince Gill at United Center a few years ago. Awesome, sold out. If you're an Eagles fan, which apparently I'm not, the way I'm talking about it. Like I said, I've liked their music. I remember listening to it in the 70s. I may have even had an Eagles cassette. I don't know, but they were huge. They were huge. They were up there with Elton John, for crying out loud. But I guess I'm just over it. I guess they're not a band that really stuck with me. Like from that era, like I said, I well, I wouldn't mind seeing Aerosmith. I know Steven Tyler is not in the best of health, but I'm just sort of, this might be a little more hypothetical. If Aerosmith were still in good shape, and I would love to see Aerosmith. The '70s Aerosmith to me is the best. I don't really like anything after that. Actually, I think just their '70s stuff is the best. But bands from the '70s. The Eagles aren't on my list. I mean, I would love to see a Led Zeppelin if John Bonham were still alive, and and if they still sounded good and perform good, I would go see Led Zeppelin over the Eagles, the Eagle and Company. I don't even think Elton John is any good anymore, and he's retiring now. But like Elton John in the '70s was actually pretty good. And then as he aged, he just got sappier and cornier and goofier. But in the '70s, I thought Elton John, he was pretty good. He could rock. I like rock. I don't like this sappy, gooey shit. King Street says Gen X is not. Well, which Gen? It's one of the. What is it? Gen Y? Whatever generation it was, they came out in full force. It was all the people who are probably in their 40s now. So whatever generation that is. Aaron West, NSYNC is my favorite boy band. See, and to me, all those boy bands, they're joke. They're just a joke. They're not real. They're not legitimate as far as I'm concerned. Elizabeth here. Buenas tardes, Trucker John. Happy birthday. Thank you, Elizabeth Martinez. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here, coming on in. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Catherine Real Health Talk. I saw Don Felder band a few months ago. Awesome. Is Don Felder still alive? I thought Don Felder passed away. Brooklyn AK Trisha LaRue says, I would go see the Eagles to try to relive my drunken college days. See, I just don't get it. My drunken college days was AC/DC and Van Halen, even the Beastie Boys and shit. Even the Beastie Boys were later because I went back to college in the mid '80s. So I got to relive my drunken college days in my mid 20s. But the Eagles, like a party band? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it, man. To me, they're talk about yacht rock. I mean, back in those days, they didn't call it yacht rock. They just called it easy listening. It was more like easy listening or soft rock. So way before the term of yacht rock, that's what to me that's what the Eagles are, is yacht rock. Aaron West says, I'm going to Vegas to see New Kids on the Block at Park MGM. Yeah, see, I don't get it, man. New Kids on the Block, NSYNC, all that stuff. To me, those are just joke bands. But hey, you do you. You do you, boo. But I mean, I guess it's like a part of your life. And music can magically transform us back to certain times of our life when we hear certain songs and certain groups. So yeah, I can see how those are, it's like a sentimental thing, but still, it's funny how to me those bands, I don't even, if it wasn't for them coming back and playing now, I wouldn't even think of them. I wouldn't. They would be so far off of my my radar, I guess. Kikushi says, I saw them all at their peak. Hard to pay 10x more for it now. Yeah. Like I went and saw Springsteen here when he was here. Was it a little over a year ago? And I'm glad I went and saw it because he had the E Street Band, as much original as he could. We know like Clarence Clemens is dead, but his nephew is awesome. And let's see, it was it Roy Bittan or one of his piano player or keyboard player guys died. Has died. But other than that, it was pretty much like the E Street Band. It was Bruce, and granted, I saw them when they were in their prime, back in the '80s, a few times, and so granted, it wasn't as good. It wasn't as good as then. It's like, you might be a great kick-ass performer or whatever, but if you were at the top of your game when you were in your 20s or 30s, and then you're coming out and you're still really, really good in your 60s or 70s, you can still be really, really good, but you're not as good as you were like at 30, in your 30s, like when Bruce was in his prime. But I'm glad I saw it because it was still a really, really good show, and it was still a great concert. Bruce did a really, really good, a great Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. It was a great concert, and it was a great kind of almost like a tribute to themselves and to the fans, because they gave us all the E Street Band stuff. It was really cool. But yeah, if I'm going to be honest about it, they weren't as good as they were when I saw them in the '80s. Just the sound and everything, and and Bruce is old, and he wasn't able to jump off pianos, and he wasn't. I mean, he moved around and did good for a 74-year-old man or whatever he was. He did great. He did really great, and I could only wish to be in that kind of shape at that age. But if I'm being honest, yeah, they were better in the '80s than they are now. Richard, Van Halen, the guy that bit it head. No, that's Ozzy Osbourne, Richard. Van Halen did not bite off a rat's head. Oh, that wasn't a rat's head. Ozzy bit off a bat's head or something. But yeah, no. Van Halen and Ozzy Osbourne, how could you mix those two up? They're not the same. Yeah, King says Ozzy did that. Yeah. Everyone's correcting Richard. Ozzy just passed away. Yeah, he just passed away. Yep, just recently. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. Rest in peace. Steve Sayers says actually all the cameras and gear would be pretty cheap insurance. Yeah, if you can do it, do it. I agree. Richard says Mick Jagger and Rolling Stones. Yeah, they were here recently. They're doing a tour, and I didn't go see them, but I did watch a lot of videos of them when they were here, and they seem to be performing really good, still putting on a really good show. But I saw them even in around on the Still Wills tour, which is around '89, I think, and you could say even in '89 they were probably way past their prime, but they were better in '89 than they are now. Because back then, Mick Jagger was still jumping off of things and jumping around. And now he moves really good. The guy's like 80, right? Or whatever he is. The guy moves better than any 80-year-old I've ever seen. He still has great energy and still move around and perform. And him and Keith Richards perform very well. So there's still a really good show. But they're not as good as they were even in '89, let alone '79 or '72 or '73 when they were probably really at their peak. But if the Stones played the Sphere, I could see them selling out. I just don't get the Eagles. Even though I know the Eagles, they've sold millions and millions and millions of records, probably more than anybody in the '70s. Probably. I haven't looked it up, but anyhow, I don't mean to beat that dead horse. Demon Dog, our concert's good for the taxi business. Yeah, all of it's good. It brings people here, and all these events, people want taxis to get back to their hotels or to go to another casino. Or yeah, if it wasn't for that, I mean, between that and conventions and stuff, I mean, that makes up most of your business. Um, Let me go ahead and skip down a little bit. I know I'm really behind on chat. Kinky Street says the Dolans use AI to record every face entering their arenas. Madison Square Garden, the Sphere. Roxanne wants to see Billy Strings in concert. I don't even know who that is. Who's Billy Strings? MJ Daniel says, I have heard that Wizard of Oz is really amazing there. I would also love to see the OG Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark done up the Sphere too. Yeah, I've heard people talk about that. In order to do that, though, I mean, like for Wizard of Oz, I think they cut out like 30 minutes or something of the original movie. I think it takes so much money and so much time and work to put in all the, because what they're doing is, like the screen, the movie screen is like, the original movie is like this big, let's say, if I'm explaining it right, but the Sphere is like this. It's all around you. So what they have to do, they using AI, they are able to expand the scene out. That's what costs all the money. And I think they cut out 20 minutes or 30 minutes of the original movie, maybe to cut down in costs or something. I haven't heard anyone really complain about losing that. However, that much of the movie, if that it like ruined the experience. I think everyone. I've heard nothing but good reviews about it. If you did Star Wars or Indiana Jones, I mean, I don't know if they would have to cut out stuff, but it would be money. It would probably be an investment that they would probably get their money back, because I've heard that the Wizard of Oz is making that. I forget how many millions of dollars it took to do this kind of remastering of the movie, this whatever you want to call it, of the movie. And I've heard that they've made their money back and then some, and it's just like gravy now, or whatever. So I guess if the Star Wars did it, or whoever owns them now, I don't know. Like I said, Disney, I guess. I don't think Lucas doesn't own them anymore. At least Star Wars, I don't think. But they've got plenty of money, so money shouldn't be an issue. But it would be, I guess, a lot of work, a lot. But they've got all the tech, they've got all the everything they need to do it. So yeah, I guess it could be done, and that would be really cool, actually, to see that at the Sphere. Richard says, Beach Boys, I wish they all could be California song. Josh says, after a certain point, the corporate overlords assembled groups instead of labels signing pre-existing bands. MJ Daniel says, people like what they like. the parties we went to in high school, late 70s, had lots of Van Halen, Styx, Foreigner, Sabbath, Eagles. Yeah, I guess there was some Eagles. Yeah, the bands I went to or the parties I went to was Van Halen, Styx, Foreigner, Sabbath, Rush, Metallica, um, Boston. Not so much the Eagles. The Eagles weren't in that mix, from what I remember. DPD 5844 says I want to see U2 in concert again, and TJ, the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and BTS blew my mind. It was worth every penny. They do work hard for their money. I guess you just gotta like that type of music. I don't really like that type of music. MJ Daniel, I think groups like Van Halen were more into trashing hotel rooms. I don't even know what that means, what they were more into. I think whether or not they did or didn't, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I like their music, and I think they were into creating what they thought was the best music that they could create over trashing hotel rooms. I think they put their love of music and rock music over trashing hotel rooms. Kicker Street says, I saw U2 a few times at their peak. Last year I saw Springsteen was outdoors amphitheater. Clarence was on sax. So yeah, that's been a while then, because Clarence has been dead for like a while now, huh? Kicker Streets, I saw Steel Wheels. I saw it too, and Guns N' Roses opened for him, and I like the Stones. They were great, but I actually think I enjoyed Guns N' Roses more, just because I love Slash so much. I love his guitar playing. Kicker Streets, Bad Delp. Yeah, that's Boston. Kicker Streets, I saw The Who with John Entwistle and bass in the late 70s with Moon on drums. Not The Who anymore for me. Yeah. And I've seen some videos. I guess they're doing some sort of a farewell concert, and they really should have stopped at one of their earlier farewell concerts, because they are really embarrassing right now. Kicker Streets, says I saw Boston. Sad the lead singer committed suicide. Brad Delp. Yeah, he went off his meds. He was bipolar, apparently, and I guess he went off his meds, and then he did himself in with the. I'm not sure I should say how to do it, because I guess you're not supposed to say those type of things. Anyhow. Yep. Oh, look, I think I caught up. MJ Daniel says, I've heard China uses AI to watch the kids in school to make sure they are paying proper attention, and there are some that want the same in the USA. AI to watch the kids. So in other words, you're putting cameras in there. Do we have to say AI about everything? So basically putting cameras in there? MJ Daniel, they use real effects. Yeah, they've got a wind machine, and they'll blow, and then they've got some like debris, like paper and stuff that blows around, and so that's kind of cool. They've got some flying monkeys for the flying monkeys. They've got these fake apples that fall out for when the trees kind of shake, the apple trees and stuff. 007 Troll Slayer is here. Says, yeah, Kicker Street, who's though, laughing out loud? I think there was supposed to be a joke on a play on words on The Who, the band. Now, when I was younger, like 12 or something, I don't know, I always got confused with The Who and the Guess Who. And I know, now we know The Who is from England. The Guess Who, I think, is Canadian. They had very different songs and everything else like that. But still, I remember being, I don't know, 10, 11, 12. And I was always like, wait, is this The Who or the Guess Who? What? And I always wondered why. I was always like, why would someone name their band so close to the same name as another band? I never really, well, at that young age, I was really confused about the Who and the Guess Who. And quite frankly, I think I'm still a little confused. Not confused about their music. I know they have different songs and very different sound, but I'm still like, why did the Guess Who name their, because the Who had been around since the 60s. The Guess Who, I never heard of them until I think this early 70s. And I'm like, shouldn't there be a law against that or something? I don't know. Steven Sayre says, stay safe and be humble. Doctor's appointment. Thanks, Steven, for being here. I do appreciate you coming around and hanging out with me on my birthday day. Thank you so much. And we are over 2 hours, and I should probably get going and ending the show. Like I said, I might pop up on an impromptu because I might be playing around with some of that stuff that Jolie got me. And I might just hit the go live button. But other than that, we'll be on tomorrow, right after House Sparks at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So I'll hopefully see you guys back here again. I hope you think about hitting that subscribe button and all that good stuff. Get our subscriptions up. Roxanne79 says, I love Guns N' Roses. Yeah, me too. MJ Daniel says, Led Zeppelin was banned from Edgewater Hotel in Seattle. Terrence Bunce is here, says, saw Yes back in the early 80s. They played much of their new material, wanted older music. They played Starship Trooper, Roundabout at the end. That's Roundabout's a good one. Mad Max says Led Zepp had fun catching sharks from the Edgewater. Kiki Street saw Yes a bunch of times. Mad Max says the Guess Who has been around since the 60s too. Oh, okay. All right. I was young then. But maybe that's when I was confused. Maybe I was still in my single digit years. But I remember going, is this like the Who? The Guess? Wait, isn't there the Who? The Guess? What? Why is there the Who and the Guess Who? I'm 6. Why are you confusing me like this? Or whatever. Josh says I saw Rush. They were great. Yeah, Rush was an awesome band, I think, in my opinion. But I think they're better than the Eagles. David Weiss, I believe from Denver area, says the Guess Who Road Food album was one of my favorite 8-track tapes. Remember the 8-tracks? Oh boy, the 8-tracks. Didn't you just love it? When there was a good song was playing, and then it would cut off and go to the next channel thingy, I hated 8-tracks. And the only reason we had 8-tracks is this is like a precursor to cassettes. So it was cool that you could have an 8-track player in your car. Because previous to that, it was just the radio. It was just over-the-air radio. There was no satellite radio. For all you youngins, okay, there was no Sirius FM. There was no satellite radio. There was no Apple iTunes. There was no hooking your phone up to your stereo in your car. None of that. It was just over the air. Whatever you picked up, you picked up. And then FM, and there was AM, and then there was FM, and FM kind of came along, and it sounded better, had stereo, but still, it was just over the air broadcast. If you were within range of the transmitters, then you could get it. And then they came out with 8-tracks, and they had 8-track players you could put in your car, and it was like, woohoo! I could take my favorite fucking Led Zeppelin 2 8-track. And I can bring that. I wasn't driving, but my dad my dad had the record of the club thing, and I remember we had Led Zeppelin 2. I don't know. That must have been the album because they would have like the album of the month or whatever, and that must have been one of the albums of the month. And my dad got it, and he goes, "Hey, John, you might like this." And I think I was like 10 or something. I don't know. How old was I? And when we had that 8-track. My dad had an 8-track player in the car. So we would, as we're traveling, and we would always go on little trips and travel. We had the 8-track players, so it was cool because you could play a Led Zeppelin album in your car, or whoever. I remember my dad, he had we had a little bit of everything, because they would send all kinds of things, and so that was cool. I remember, I think I had a Paul McCartney or 8-track, and it had a lot of big hits on it, and lo and behold, of course, it would change the channels, the tracks or whatever, right in the middle of a goddamn song, of one you're like grooving to, and it would cut off and then pick up again, so that sucked, but it was cool because, you didn't have to rely on trying to find a radio station, especially when we lived out in the desert. We lived 100 miles from LA. That had a big mountain range that separated LA from where we lived. So we lived out in the sticks, out in the boonies, and the radio selections weren't always that great. So it was great to have. So that it was great. We had these 8-tracks, but they sucked because of that whole thing about cutting through the songs. And then some years later, they came out with cassettes, and then it was like, these are even better. There's no cutting off except at the very end. Sometimes it would cut a song off at the end if you had like auto reverse, and then it would like switch to the next side, the other side, or whatever. But so that was an improvement over the 8-tracks. But then, of course, the thing with the cassettes, sometimes I guess your cassette player would get dirty or whatever, and it would swallow your tape. It would grab the tapes and ruin it would get all caught up in things. And remember, you got the pencil and you're like winding it back and everything, trying to save as much as you could. Hopefully it didn't get too messed up. So that was the drawbacks of cassettes, but still it was an improvement over 8-tracks. And then some years later, they came out with CDs, which were really, really cool. That was like the coolest. I remember when those came out, I was like, man, oh man, look at this. No 8-track thing where the tracks are stopping. No cassettes where the cassette tape was getting gobbled up. None of that. But look at these CDs. I just can stick it in there, and it sounds beautiful. It has a great sound. I mean, it sounds better than a record player. It's like, this is awesome. And then, of course, those things would get scratched or whatever, or you would hit a bump, and you would actually sometimes get skips and stuff. So it wasn't 100% perfect, but the CDs were vastly better than cassettes and better than 8-tracks. So this is sort of the evolution of things. And then later, as we got more and more the ability to stream and get and satellite radios and streaming, or just having Bluetooth. Now Bluetooth, and you can just play stuff off your phone or whatever right into your car. But yeah, I don't know how I got on that tangent, by the way. Dave Weiss says, guess who? I already read that. Elton Gillespie says, the Guess Who did not pick their own name. They saw it first on their first record. Ada Benitez says, Guess Who was a Canadian rock group. Yeah. Yep, they were. And some of the members of that band became Bachman Turner Overdrive, right? BTO. There's a bit of a crossover there. Ada Benitez says, happy birthday. Thank you, Ada. Thank you for the birthday wish. I do appreciate it. Mad Max says, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, playing on the 8-track, right in the middle of the drum solo. It fades out and then clicks onto the next track and fades back into the drum solo. Yeah, that's it never failed, right? It would be right in a good song. Right in a good song. Elizabeth Martinez says, I think it's Columbia House. I signed up with different names to get the promote. Yeah, I did that too. I did that when I was like in high school age. I joined up so many times. I ended up having like 200 albums, and I don't think I ever even paid for it. Maybe not 200, but a few dozen probably. Damon Dog, the big dog, says, I think I still owe Columbia House for that last order of 12 cassettes for a penny. Yeah. Mad Max says, the Guess Who began in 1965. Wow. So about the same time as The Who, probably. Yeah, Jolie, the old pencil rewinder. Jennifer Sugar John, when is the Betamax to VCR discussion happening? Mr. Bob Newell, I can't hear you. Hey, Mr. Bob Newell, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Mad Max says my cousin's boyfriend had a 57 Chevy back in the 60s and it had an under 45 RPM record player. It wasn't good to hit a bump in the road, but it was great on smooth roads. No way. No way it had a record player. I've never heard of that in my life. That is so funny and very very inventive. I don't think I ever heard of anyone doing that. An under 45 RPM record player. That's so funny. That's funny. David Weiss says, I have a Sony SACD 5-disc player that does 4.1 surround with special disc, but I have 6, maybe terabyte of digital music saved on my home network. I'm still an audio fool instead of audiophile, I guess. Steffi Young's here. Hey, Steffi, thanks for the birthday wish. I do appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much. All right, guys, I guess it's time to say goodbye. Here we are. It's 1:47 p.m. here in the old Pacific time zone. Thank you guys so much for all of the support. Now, the fan funding, it's not going to have all of them on here because I don't think, well, maybe it will. No, it should have them all on here. So just a quick thanks. Thanks to Marcia. Yippee, $1.49. Jolie, $5. Thank you so much. Michael McAndrews, $20. Yippee to Michael. Susie Jones became a driver. Thank you, Susie Jones. Yippee. Damon Dog, $4.99. Yippee to Damon Dog. Thank you so much. Sandy Foltz, 99 cents. Thank you, Sandy. Yippee. Bethany Arbaugh, $1.49. Yippee. Thank you so much. Roxanne, $79. $4.99. Super chat. Thank you. Yippee to Roxanne. Asbjørn Knudsen, 100 kroner, a Norwegian kroner. I forget the exchange rate. But thank you so much for that. I do appreciate it. Great of you to do that. So yippee to Asbjørn. Squirrel Girl, $20 super chat. Squirrel Girl, thank you. Yippee. We got Squirrel Girl gifted 5 memberships. Another yippee out to Squirrel Girl. Yippee. Thank you so much. Surrender Monkey, 10 pounds, coming from England. Super chat. Thank you, Surrender Monkey. Yippee. Kimchi with $9.99 super chat. Thank you, Kimchi. Yippee out there to Kimchi. DBD 5844, $3 super sticker. Yippee to DBD 5844. And then Fancy with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Fancy. Yippee. Thank you guys so much for all those for all the donations and for all the love. And thanks for making my birthday special today. And thanks for if we got any new subscribers. I don't know. I was hoping to get like 88 new subscribers, but maybe we got 1 or 2. I don't know. And but thanks for all the likes, the subscribes, the sharing, and for hanging out with me for these past couple hours. And I do appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out for the past few years. You guys are really awesome. And like I said, we'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time, right here on the Trucker John channel. For all you sparklers out there, I'll be coming on right after House Sparks. If you're not a sparkler, then just write on your calendar, Trucker John, 11 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday. All right, guys, thanks so much. That's it for today. And Damon Dog says 4,110 subs. And it's probably a couple more than that because on the YouTube page, it doesn't really show the exact number. If I went into my YouTube studio, it would have the exact number. But anyhow, thanks, guys, so much. All that's really left to do at this point is do the words of wisdom. For those of you that are new here, this is where I just lay down some big time wisdom, and I've been told it's so good that you should probably write them down and save them, and make a little journal or a little book out of it. So here, get your little pen and pad out and write this down. Okay, so for today's words of wisdom, no, wait a minute. Before we do that, though, before we do that, let's say thank you so much. But if there's anyone new here, we all sometimes we have other people that come in and do on the show as special guests, and you know, like me, sometimes I come in. If there's anyone new who hasn't seen Old Tough Cookie, welcome to the Trucker John channel, Trucker John Livestream. Thank you so much for being here. I know Trucker John's really happy to have you come in. So when he's happy, we're all happy, because Lord knows when he's not happy, he's a tyrant. He's really awful to be around. So thanks for making him happy, because when you make him happy, that makes my life that much happier and easier. So I don't have to put up with his shit. All right. So thank you all for doing that. All right. And I also would like to thank everyone for being here. Thanks for being here. It's just a nice thing, come in and hang out. And I'm glad to see y'all being here. And we'll see you on the next one. I just want to say a quick hi. I know Trucker John wants to end the show because I think he has to go to the bathroom or something. I don't know. So we better end this before we have a mess in here. He ain't getting any younger, if you know what I mean. So, all right. But thanks for being here, guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, though, if you haven't already. That would be great. That would be a great, really inexpensive birthday gift for Trucker John if you just subscribe. All right, thanks, guys. All right, yeah, thanks, Tough Cookie and Paul the Purple Beard Guy for showing up. I do appreciate you. All right, are you guys ready for the words of wisdom now? Okay, now we get the pad and the pencil out, or the pen or the Sharpie, and we do the words of wisdom. Okay, so you ready? Today's words of wisdom on October 3rd are as follows. Okay, so guys, just always.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. All screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John Livestream. John Livestream. Know it's time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shrugs, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. Apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you wanna take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills, it's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows, so go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. So damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Show's over, I'm out of here, folks. Bye.